Good morning. Well, the plasma is rising, the timelines are shredding, and Saturn is just not here to fix what was. Saturn is here to ask us, like, what do you want to build? What do you want right here, right now? Right? So, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the X class solar flare that happened last night, and we're going to talk about a lot of things. So, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you for joining in and for watching this. And love it, love it, love it. If anyone I can't can tell if my sound is going, it is awesome. Okay, so let's start with the solar flares. It's Memorial Day weekend. Here in the States, right? Because I have international followers. It's our 3-day weekend, and many of my followers are not going to be tuning in right now. We're going to catch it on Monday or Tuesday on the flip side. And it's Sunday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we had an X-class flare last night that came in at, oh man, I'm gonna say 7, almost 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So, we're going along, hanging out in the C section, and then we get a few bumpy M's for a little while. And then we have this X class X1.1.12 that comes in out of nowhere. And it was kind of like, whoa. And the really interesting thing was I didn't feel it. I didn't recognize it. I didn't know it happened. Kind of caught it afterwards and went, this is really interesting. So it was a little bit bumpy and before, right? And it went like M3, C5, M1, C2, C1, M2. And so when we go to the C's, we know that those are the tap, tap, taps. And when we go to the M's, it's like we're in that tower moment, which is get ready. Do you have some things organized? How are you taking care of all of these drastic changes that we're asking you to make? And then the X class flare comes along and it's like, you know, it's imagination, it's where we're aligned, it's where we're in sync with it, and it can be exhausting to try to integrate all of that energy, right? So so solar flares were sort of mild all week, as I said, and yet at the same time the KP index Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, early into Thursday was up at KP4, which is telling us through the measurement systems that we have currently on our space weather apps and Schumann and everything, that there's a lot of plasma coming in. There's a lot of energy coming onto our planet that we can't really define. We don't know where it's from. We don't know what it's about. So, per Alexander Quinn, Mary Long, Pam Youngins, plus, Carrie K, plus. I mean, I basically sort of scan all week long, is that we're having these surges of energies, right? That the plasma fields are hitting our earth, our bodies, and our cells. And I think it was even on Wednesday that Pam Youngins, without any solar flare activity to speak of, was running a symptoms check. Are you feeling exhausted? Do you need more sleep? Are you feeling anxious? So that tells me that when at least the KP index can tell us when there's a little bit more energetic activity going on. So that said, the big event that I really want to focus on today is that Saturn went into Aries. And please understand, I'm not an astrologer. I'm just sort of looking at them like their personalities. And if they're personalities that are involved in my life, how are they going to affect me? So I do deep dives in specific issues. I don't read charts and do the big picture. I just do what we're facing right now energetically. Okay. So at 6:35 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Saturn left Pisces and entered into Aries. So that's after 2 weeks at 29 degrees, which was really a lot of pressure and tapping on the shoulder by the Grand Master of honesty, authenticity, and realness, going like, what do you want? What are you going to create? You've got just a little bit more time now. um, and after being in Pisces since March 7th, 2023. So little bit, not quite 2.5 months, a little over 2 months. Excuse me, 2.5 years, a little over 2 years, somewhere in between. What we have is Saturn being really unhappy, slogging through the emotional depths, and also being trained with Neptune, because Neptune, is the higher vibration really involved in Pisces, sort of passing some codes along, and Saturn going like, okay, I'll do this, but I'm not happy about it. Right. And so last night, Saturn got to leave the deep, sloggy, emotional waters of Pisces, right? And will be in Aries for another 2 years. And so it's like a 29-year cycle, right? Now, keep in mind that the last time that Saturn left Pisces was in 1996 and stayed there till 1998. So we're looking at 29-year cycles. And so go back to, what were you actually like jazzed about? What was really happening in 96 through 98? And put that in perspective, right? Put that in perspective and see what happens, right? Because when Saturn goes into Aries, it activates the fire, the wands, the Eight of Wands, and things happen quickly. I love this. This is the Light Seer's Eight of Wands, which is like this dramatic spark, and it sort of helps us bring things into form. So we're taking fire and we're creating new form. So Saturn, and a lot of this came from Astro Butterfly, because I love their overviews of these big astrological events, is that Saturn is the planet of adulthood. And I thought, crap, that's a packed word right there. The planet of adulthood. It's where we develop our mastery. Saturn is a taskmaster. Saturn is intentional, detailed, discerning, likes systems, likes to make plans on how they work. And so, you've got this fire of let's go, go, go in Aries, ruled by Mars, and you've got this like, no, we're gonna slow it down. We're not going that fast, because we have some really new things to embed, Ace of Pentacles, into the earth at this time, based on the codes and the information that I've gathered over the last 2 years. So the reason I called this starting from scratch is that we are at 0 point right now in Saturn in Aries. It's a blank slate. First blank slate we've had. We've finished the zodiac, and we're coming back to the very beginning of the zodiac in Aries. Blank slate, new era. It's a reset of frequencies. It's a reset of systems. So what I love is the Osho Zen uses this as no thingness. It's how do you start completely from scratch, without your stories, without your dramas, without your traumas, without your finger pointing, without your perspectives of elections or geopolitics or economics or anything, and just go starting from scratch right now. How do I go to 0 point, right? And become absolutely crystal clear that I'm starting from scratch. And so with Aries, it's going to be our will plus our wisdom plus our frequency or essence, or the combination of those two. So we are in a fresh start in a new direction, an absolute new direction. And keep in mind too that Aries is also sun energy. King of Kings, light of the world. Sorry about that. I was not diminishing. I was just really like talking about how much fire was coming in. And so when we have fire, how do you go to a blank slate and say, I'm not taking the bait, I'm not jumping, I'm not going there? Because what I want to know is, if I'm at 0, starting from scratch, what do I know in my bones to be true for me? Right? Because this is frequency based. Make no mistake, we have shifted from a physical world to a frequency based environment. Our plasma is activating us, it's changing us, it's shifting us from people, places, and things that can no longer hold the alignment. And so it's frequency, and Saturn is this gatekeeper. And I love this card, which is the Eon. From the Thoth deck. This is 20. This is the equivalent of sort of the universe card, right? Or judgment. Excuse me, judgment. Sorry. And it's sort of like where the judgment is like, so tell me, how did you come to that decision, and what are you going to do? And I look at this and I think it's very Egyptian. It's very empowered. It has Hermes. It has all of these different perspectives of it, right? Because as if Saturn is the gatekeeper, I think of it like, here's the outer planets of Uranus and Pluto and and Neptune. And those three have often been affiliated with the upper Sephiras, the supernals, within the tree of life. And Saturn is up there too. But Saturn's like the one who sort of goes like, talk to me, and then I will translate and get it down into the physical form. I will materialize it. And so Saturn defines the boundary of what we're allowed to see and understand. And Saturn has been well educated in the last 2 years of new frequency, new work, and coming to sort of say, what are you going to do with that? What do you want to do? So we're starting at a blank slate because Saturn's been following Neptune's footsteps per astro butterfly. And I love this perspective, sort of gathering Neptune's information from Pisces, gathering and decoding that information, and then taking it and bringing it into practical steps and structures and helping us materialize and create mastery. Does that make sense? So Saturn is this huge energy that we have this every 29 to 30-year return, and sort of this come up on, you said you wanted to do this, now where are you with that plan, sort of discipline, right? And now we're starting at 0 point from scratch. So when we're in this section of, I've got these great notes, so I always like to keeps me on task. So we are 0 point, right, with new visions. We're looking at what has been seeded, birthed in the last 2 years within you, and what's being materialized, right? Because this is energetic. When Neptune's involved, it's divine intelligence, right? And it can't absolutely continue using things that are expired. Per Astro Butterfly, expired tools and outdated intentions cannot work with that. So I always flew up people, places, and things that are out of date have got to go. So we're creating a new era, a new vision, a new path forward. So it makes it a little bit exciting. I like the idea of starting from scratch because, I have several driver's licenses. I've started from scratch often. And to me, that's where I sort of bring to rest what transpired before and what I want to step forward into in the future. And it's just sort of how I love to live. So you can see the excitement and the enthusiasm in my field right now, right? So I've got 6 tips for you. And before I go to the tips, I want to remind you of 2 things, 3 things actually. I have a Patreon channel, and it's a way to support the work I do and to get information that we post and chat back and forth. And we have a discussion group. Would love to have you come and join and feel into it and see if it works for you. It'd be fun. Okay, number 2, all of my contact information is down in the description. So if you want to get a hold of me and do an exploratory or find out what do you really mean starting from scratch, Denise? I know what's going on, but I don't know how to do that. I might be able to help you out with that. Okay. And number 3, I put 4 questions. This is a new one. I put 4 questions down in the description about what you can do with this energy right now. So if you're home, if you got a lazy day or a lazy weekend or some time this week to sort of jot down the answers to this, I think it might be really informative. Okay. So now, tip number 1 is to assess where you are with energy and frequency in that intangible, participation right now. Where are you really? Because I see it falling into 3 different groups. One is the reactive, which is, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. My sensitivities are being activated. I'm taking everything personal. And I'm not mimicking, or I'm saying that that can be very, very unsettling when this happens. My anxiety is rising. I'm off center. I've got these physical aches and pains, and I don't know what's going on. So there's that reactivity, right? The second one is the adjustment and the growing, right? Which is where you're researching and you're looking things up and you're making some distinctions between what's working and what's not working, what you can read, what you're noticing, and you're responding with deep self-care. So you're shifting your physical world, right? And you're adapting it. So the adjusting is like, I get it. There's stuff going on. It's kind of like, speed limits on highways when there's highway patrol out. It's kind of like, what would be another adjusting? River raft river rafting, you monitor and adjust as you go along, and that's where your mastery is in that adjustment. However, the third level is mastery, which is where you are curious and you're responsive constantly. You're realigning and you're shining with this frequency like I know exactly how to do this and I'm excited about it. So find out where you are. No judgment and take that level into those questions that I listed and see what it feels like, right? Number 2, we're going to use the blank slate approach, right? We are absolutely, there's nothing before 52525, which is one of those, is it palindromes where it's 52525 backwards and forwards. It's super cool. And what you need in order to go forward. So you want to drop what's outdated, right? You want to where you get stuck, where things aren't working anymore for you, where they never really worked, whether it's people, places, or things, right? It might be your work also. It might be your relationships. It might be your sense of self and how you view yourself when you look in the mirror. It could be all sorts of things, but now's the time for absolute clarity, pure clarity and conscious design because Saturn's saying you got this blank slate. What do you want to create? What do you want to put into form? How are you going to use your wisdom to know who you are and what you need and how you bring that into form, right? Okay, number 3, bring together clarity and courage and communication. Think about it. Clarity, I know what this is. Communication or excuse me, courage, which is this might be this I've shirked from this before. I've been afraid to go here before, but I'm going to really say it. And then you say things with clarity like, "No, I don't want to live here anymore." Or I'm going to start winding down on my job. I'm going to start pushing some things away that will not work for me in the future. So what we're doing is we're accessing this warrior energy, not the one who pulls a sword out and slashes apart everything, but the warrior, sort of more like the veteran or the master warrior who's like, wow, you do not know the things that I have seen and how many times I've had to make really hard decisions. And I'm in another one of those, right? So now's the time to go, not to push against darkness and to push against, oh, I hate it when those people are doing this and that, because when you go that way, you join it, as opposed to turn and say, what is possible out there and what do I want to create? How am I going to go that way? Right. So number 3 is to use clarity, courage, and communication at all times, and be that sort of light warrior, that warrior for who you are at your own frequency with your own essence. Right. Number 4, declutter. How many times have we heard this word? But we're really talking about remove the shit from your house, from your car, from your life, from your closet, from your pantry, from your refrigerator, from your contact list, from your social media, from your obligatory appointments and relationships, and clear the clutter because you want to support this new era. It's almost like moving into a brand new place and saying, what do I really want to put here and how do I leave the rest of it behind? Give it away. It could be things, it could be people, it could be physical activities and ways that you take care of yourself. Maybe decluttering is to stop using screens between 9 and midnight and go to bed early and get up early. Try something different. You have a brand new slate where something is happening. I've been getting up between 4:30 and 5 for the last 3 days because it's finally clear in Montana and I can see the balsamic moon just rising. And Venus has been there as well. And for whatever reason, my body just wakes up and I go, oh, it looks like it's almost dawn. And I'll go look out the window and there is the balsamic moon. And I realize I kind of like this hour. The birds haven't started chirping yet. It's just like everything's starting to wake up. So find out how to declutter. What is it that works? Be strong, be brutal, but be loving and clear, and include everything that you want to have in your life and exclude or remove everything else, right? Number 5, anchor your frequency in the physical world. You are, at this time, putting into physical form who you are. So you've got your actions like Aries, and you're materializing with Saturn, right? And you want to put this in alignment with who I am. So what a personal experience would be that I realized that some of these old models for coaching or these sessions or these even like, hey, you want to do a tarot reading? These things just don't match the frequency I'm holding of metaphysical strategies anymore. They're entry levels, and I want to do things on a much higher level. So it's sort of like, how do I anchor that new frequency of what I want to do and be in the future into new physical form in a grounded sort of balanced masculine and feminine way, right? Because this is a new cycle and it's my next 29 years. So what am I going to start? And then number 6, of course, is to be compassionate. Be compassionate with yourself, with others, because we're all on different paths. We're all looking at it in different ways. Some of us are thrilled about this. Some of us are going forward, kicking and screaming and in pain. It's all our experience. We just get a blank slate right now and we get to start over. So, put some comments down. Tell me how this resonated with you, and let me know if there's anything we as a community through the comments can do to support you. Take care. Bye bye.